Okay.
Okay.
Hello
Hello
everyone.
everyone.
The
The
Eternal
Eternal
Quest in
Quest in
association with
association with
Hub
Hub
Hawks,
Hawks,
Ahmedabad Book
Ahmedabad
Club,
Book Club,
American
American
Corner,
Corner,
Ahmedabad and
Ahmedabad
Hello
and Hello
Gujarat TV
Gujarat TV
presents a
presents a
weekly
weekend
conversation
conversation
with
with
author
author
Monisha
Monisha
Gumbar.
Gumbar.
Monisha
Monisha
Gumbar is an
Gumbar
author
is an
of
author of
immensely
immensely
popular teen
popular teen
novels
novels
called Sick
called
of
Sick
Being
of Being
Healthy
Healthy
and Dying
and
to Live,
Dying to Live.
a part
A
of
part of
memorable books
memorable
of
books of
2017 of
2017 of
Amazon
Amazon
India.
India.
Monisha is an
Monisha is
army
an
brat
army
and
brat
has
and
moved
has
around
moved
all
around
over the
all over the
country and
country
says
and says
that her
that her
background has
background
made her
has made
more
her more
accepting and
accepting and
humble.
humble.
Like
Like
most people
most
from
people
her
from her
generation,
generation,
she has the
she has the
usual
usual
MBA and
MBA
many
and
years
many
of
years of
corporate
corporate
experience
experience
till she
till she
decided to move
decided to
into the
move into
writing
the writing
arena.
arena.
She is
She
also
is also
passionate about
passionate about
alternative
alternative
healing
healing
and wishes
and
true
wishes
health
true
and
health and
happiness to
happiness
all.
to all.
She is an
She is an
independent
independent
management
management
consultant and
consultant and
pursuing a
pursuing a
doctorate in
doctorate
business
in business
administration.
administration.
Her third
Her
book is
third book
called
is called
Bahir,
Bahir,
which is
which is
mainly for
mainly
the
for
older
the older
leaders.
leaders.
Her
Her
latest book is
latest book
called
is called
Dolly Won't
Dolly
Play,
Won't Play,
which is
which is
narrated in
narrated
free
in free
verse
verse
and deals
and
with
deals with
emotional
emotional
and
and
physical abuse
physical
of
abuse of
children.
children.
All of her
All of
books
her
have
books
been in the
have been in the
bestseller list
bestseller
of their
list of their
categories.
categories.
Now, all
Now,
her
all
books
her
are
books are
available in a
available in a
combined
combined
novel
novel
called Teen
called Teen
Trilogy.
Trilogy.
It is a
It is a
complete
complete
package
package
dealing with
dealing
serious
with serious
issues
issues
such as
such as
academic
academic
pressures,
pressures,
low self
low self
esteem,
esteem,
and
and
complicated
complicated
online
online
relationships
relationships
with
with
lightweight
lightweight
narrative.
narrative.
She
She
wishes to
wishes
write
to write
entertaining
entertaining
stories
stories
that makes a
that makes a
difference.
difference.
Monisha K.
Monisha K.
Gumbar can
Gumbar
be
can be
contacted at
contacted
her
at
own
her own
website
website
at
at
www.monishakgumbar.com.
www.monishakgumbar.com.
Welcome, ma'am.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Radha, for having me here.
So, ma'am,
So,
we'll
ma'am, we'll
start
start
with your
with your
writing
writing
journey.
journey.
We all
We
know
all
that
know
there's an
that there is an
inspiration behind
inspiration
every
behind
work
every
we
work
do.
we do.
So, can you
So,
tell
can
us
you tell
about
us
your
about your
writing journey
writing
and
journey
who
and who
inspired you the
inspired you the
most?
most?
I started about 5 or 6 years back, and as you mentioned, I had a regular corporate job, and I had taken a sabbatical for some family reasons and also for my self development. But that was a phase when I was feeling a bit directionless, that what next. So my husband used to insist that I must give it a shot, writing books and writing fiction, because he thought the way I dramatize everything, there is a storyteller in me. And he used to almost like force me. So I said I was resisting for a very long time, but then my actual inspiration came from the Wimpy Kids series. It is a book by Jeff Kenny. I mean, it's got a whole series, and lots of books have been released. And those books are with pictures, novels with pictures. I thought that, and it's for children basically. I thought I could maybe attempt a similar thing or a mature version of Wimpy Kids. And since my husband believes in me so much, even when I don't, let me just give it a shot. And that's how I started writing. And that was a real inspiration. But to be honest, now that I look back, I think life itself is an inspiration. Every day you're going through so many things, and you meet such interesting people, characters, that you can get inspired by everything around you, if you keep an open mind. So I would say that lots of things that have happened in my life and which I have observed have actually inspired me to give it a shot and start writing books. Yeah.
Ma'am, your
Ma'am,
journey
your
has
journey has
truly
truly
been
been
great.
great.
Now,
Now,
coming to your
coming to your
first book,
first
the
book, the
title of your
title of
first
your
book
first
is
book is
Sick of
Sick
Being
of Being
Healthy,
Healthy,
which looks
which
very
looks very
interesting and it
interesting
is
and it
very
is
catchy
very catchy
title.
title.
So, can you
So,
tell
can
us
you
more
tell us
about
more
it?
about it?
Yes, actually, like I said, I when I decided that I should be writing books, and I always knew that I'm going to be writing fiction. But the fact was also that love stories or romance novels did not really move me enough. I did not think there is anything wrong in writing about love stories and youngsters and things like that. But I thought that if I had to tell a story to youngsters, it should be motivational and inspiring enough, and they should be able to learn something from it. So I bec coming from the kind of life I've had, and my daughter was already growing up. She was almost a teen, and I knew that a lot of people do suffer from self-esteem issues. Despite the fact that they might seem very confident, but all of us, no matter what color, what size, what height, anything, we always tend to have a little bit of complex about the way we look like. And especially teenagers, and especially growing up children, because they have not really seen that much of life, and they don't really understand everything, and they are quite impacted by what is happening around them. So I thought that I definitely want to address girls who are on the heavier side, because I have gone through this myself, not to that extent, but I could relate to it. So, and I thought it would be easier for me to tell a story from the perspective of a girl who's on the heavier side. And then obviously in India, you don't want to be rude, so you don't say fat, you say, oh, you're so healthy, right? So this girl was actually, she's felt that she was so sick of being healthy, sick of always being called healthy. And so that's how this title came about. And uh, she actually wants to attract a very handsome stud in the neighborhood, and she does something really drastic, and she goes on a really bad diet, and she realizes in the end that it's very important to actually love yourself and accept yourself the way you are. And that was basically the message which I wanted to give out through my book. So that's how the title came about, and that's how I wrote it. And obviously, you all know that it is a graphic novel, so there are lots of pictures. Like I said, I was inspired by Wimpy Kids series, so I wanted to also include pictures. I thought pictures do speak louder than words. So it was a graphic novel for teenagers, young teenage girls. That's how it was addressing those kind of issues, of negative body image and self-confidence, and lots of stuff. Lots of things were inbuilt. Yeah.
Indeed,
Indeed,
along with
along
the
with the
title, the
title,
theme
the
is
theme
also
is
very
also very
catchy.
catchy.
Thank
And
you.
your
And
other
your other
book,
book,
Dying to
Dying
Love,
to Love,
deals with
deals with
Megha's
Megha's
lessons
lessons
that she
that
learns
she
on the
learns
way
on
to
the way to
incredible journey
incredible
called
journey
life.
called life.
Do you
Do
believe
you
that
believe
life
that
is
life is
always a
always a
journey and that
journey
it
and that
teaches
it
us
teaches us
something every
something
time?
every time?
Yes, Megha's story, it's called Dying to Live actually. Mm, she is supposed to be a high achiever. If you meet a girl who's very nice to look at, who's presentable, and who's doing really well in studies, and she's a sports champion, she's popular, and she's got parents who are really close-knit family and things like that, you will always feel like what a perfect girl and what a perfect life. I wish I could be like that. But if you go deeper, some of these people who are like very, very successful in life, it's not compulsory that they will also be happy inside. Maybe they are really under a lot of pressure. So that's what I wanted to show in Megha's story, that despite doing so well in life, she was also undergoing so many terrible things. And in fact, she even tries to commit suicide because she couldn't handle it anymore. And that's when, and this is basically a story about her comeback, how she makes a comeback into realizing that yes, life is definitely a journey. It's nothing else except the time we are here, right, on earth, from our birth till we die. It's nothing else but this. And it's about having experiences, and going through lots of emotions, learning things, unlearning things. And it is definitely a journey. Whatever the destination is, it doesn't really matter, as long as you are able to enjoy the journey, even if it's not fun every time. But you must always take it in your stride, and walk along the way. And that's what she realizes, Megha. So I do believe definitely life is a journey. Yeah.
Indeed, the
Indeed, the
biggest
biggest
lessons are
lessons
taught
are
by
taught by
life
life
only.
only.
Yes.
And
And
ma'am, what
ma'am,
are the
what are the
various
various
themes
themes
portrayed in
portrayed
your
in your
latest book,
latest book,
Dolly
Dolly
Won't Play?
Won't Play?
Yeah, so as you know that I have written a teen series basically. First is called Sick of Being Healthy, second is Dying to Live, and third is Dolly Won't Play. So when I started with Sick of Being Healthy, I did not really have it in my mind that I'm going to end up writing a sequel, but I had developed a decent fan following, or readers. I would say I'm not that famous or anything like that, but they used to insist, that you must write stories about the other girls in the group. So basically, these are stories of three close friends in the group: Tara, Megha, and Dolly. And somehow, it was just by God's grace that the stories could get connected in so many different ways, and the characters started speaking their own language and started taking shape, and the stories could actually move forward. That I also, like I said, first book was about body image and confidence issues. The second book is about academic pressures and how much pressure children have and teenagers, especially academic pressures to do well in life and prove themselves all the time. And the third one is Dolly Won't Play, and somehow, I ended up writing a book about child abuse. I thought this is a very important topic, even though it's very serious. I definitely did not really want to sound serious, but somehow, because the topic is like that, I couldn't help it. So this is about girls who go through, actually children, it could be children of any age. A lot of children do go through abuse, especially from the very people they trust and family members. So this is one theme that I wanted to bring out, that children go through abuse, and sometimes they don't tell their parents, and sometimes we blame the children that it's because of you might have given some signals and things like that, but you have to realize that they are very innocent, they don't know. I mean, I think children means till the time you are 18, 19, even in your late 20s, you are still a child. This is what I feel. I'm in my, like, I'm 44 years old, and I can't say that I'm like mature enough, I know everything. You tend to make mistakes, and you tend to give mixed signals, and you don't know what's happening, you are confused. So you can't definitely blame it on children. And that's what I wanted to bring out, that these things do happen, and we must pay attention, and we must have a lot of sympathy and show a lot of empathy towards children who go through all this, and they need to be healed. And sometimes when they are going through child abuse, they also develop other kind of disorders, or some issues, like anxiety or depression, that will definitely come in. So it was basically all these things interconnected, and I wanted to show that one thing leads to another. And but despite everything, despite the fact that it is a very serious book, I also wanted to make sure that in the end, even if it's not like 100% great, or now it's a happy ending, it's not a typical happy ending. I wanted to show no matter where you are in life, you always can make a comeback, you can always take baby steps towards healing. So those are the things which I wanted to bring out. That's the main theme about child abuse, and definitely healing and never giving up. And even if you are giving up, you can still bounce back. So that's what I want, that's the message I wanted to give across. Yeah.
Both
Both
the
the
stories and
stories
the
and the
messages that
messages
you
that
convey
you
to the
convey to the
society are very
society are very
important and
important and
amazing as
amazing
well.
as well.
And we
And
also
we
know that
also know
plot
that
and
plot and
characterization both are
characterization
very
both are very
important in a
important in a
story.
story.
So, which
So,
one do
which
you
one do
plan
you plan
first?
first?
Uh, Plot, I would say I have a rough idea of what I wanted to address. Like I said, even if I'm writing teen books and they are fiction, but I know that there are some themes, underlying themes, as you are mentioning, that I do want to address. So you can call it the plot or whatever. And but for me, characters are very important. They are the ones who will take the story forward, and I always write in first person, so it's very important that I'm able to show their personalities, and how quirky they can be and how different they are from each other. And for me, that's my personal thing, that for me, characterization, characters, how they think, how they talk, how they walk, how they dress up, everything is much more important. And the message message is definitely important. And what I really want to always keep in mind is also the style of narration. I want to make sure that I'm still sounding relatable and as realistic as possible, and I'm not using words for the heck of it. So you can say the combination of everything is important, but personally, I pay a lot of emphasis on developing the characters. Yeah.
So,
So,
speaking about
speaking
the
about the
characters,
characters,
are your
are your
characters
characters
real
real
or
or
fictional?
fictional?
And like,
And
which
like,
one is
which one
your
is your
favorite?
favorite?
Come again, please.
Speaking about
Speaking about
characters, ma'am,
characters, ma'am,
are your
are your
characters
characters
real or
real or
fictional?
fictional?
And which one
And
is
which
your
one is your
favorite?
favorite?
Okay, so I have written four books so far. Sick of Being Healthy. Then second one is Dying to Live. Then Dolly Won't Play. And there's also another book I have written. It is called Bahir, which is not for teenagers. It is for older readers. And that story is about a Pakistani immigrant woman's life in the Middle East. For me, I think all the characters are important and they are interesting. But I think now that you're asking me to think about it, um, all are interesting, but I think the character in Bahir, her name is Savera. So she's a Pakistani woman, who goes through hell to actually survive an immigrant life so that her children are looked after back home and she's able to provide for her family. And she's a very weird kind of character in the sense that she goes through hell but she never gives up, and she's always in a dream world and she always wants to make it big in life. And despite all the problems, she's still able to survive and actually makes it big in the end. So I thought this is one character we really must learn from, and she keeps making one mistake after the another. She doesn't learn from her mistakes, but I found it like very interesting, and I think that would be my favorite character. I don't think I can't really say whether it's fact or fiction or things like that, but it's all the characters are they are basically combination of fact and fiction, but there is more fiction, but obviously you borrow from life all the time. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
illustration
illustration
interested the
interested the
readers in
readers
your
in
teen
your teen
trilogy.
trilogy.
Can you tell
Can
us
you tell
more
us more
about it?
about it?
The illustrations.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so like I said, when I started sick of being healthy, I wanted to include pictures also in the books, right? So that's I thought I'm also into art and things like that. I thought maybe it will, from a presentation point of view, the book will look much better if I include illustrations. And like I said, I was inspired by Wimpy Kid, so I added illustrations in the book. And I did the illustrations myself for the first one and the second one, Dying to Live. When it came to Dolly Won't Play, like I said, the topic is fairly serious, and I wanted to show characters, but not directly, and more like it in a different sort of a way, yeah, like which has psychedelic elements, because it deals with that kind of stuff and having a dream world and a fantasy world. And I thought that I needed a more professional touch with this book. So there's a guy, his name is Pankaj Rathore. He's a great artist, and I got in touch with him, and he agreed to do my book for like Dolly Won't Play, the illustrations for Dolly Won't Play, and that's how. And he's done a great job actually. So once he did Dolly Won't Play, I realized that even for the first and the second, I want to redo everything because I was not feeling satisfied from inside. That even though I had done a job and nobody really complained, it was looking fine. But I thought that the stories do deserve much better illustrations. So I asked him to do the illustrations again for part one and part two, and then we combined it into one book, which is called Teen Trilogy. So part one, part two, part three. Now it's basically available as a combination, and it's called Teen Trilogy. So here, in the enhanced and improved version, all the illustrations are done by Pankaj. Yeah.
We
We
also know
also
that
know that
the job
the
of a
job of
writer
a
is
writer is
really tough.
really tough.
Like there are so
There are
many
so many
obstacles. For
obstacles. For
example,
example,
writer's
writer's
block.
block.
Hmm.
So did
So
you
did
had
you
one,
had
and
one,
how
and
did you
how did you
overcome it?
overcome it?
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't say tough because for me, because I was writing fiction, and I could do whatever I wanted to, and I could take the stories forward. And I really don't think, honestly, that it was very tough. I think getting books published is much tougher than writing books. So, but with the third book, which is called Dolly Won't Play, third part of the series, I did feel writer's block definitely, because like I've been telling you that characterization is very important for me. Now here was a character, her name is Dolly. She had learning difficulties growing up, So and when I started writing, because I was getting better in this craft, or I was developing skills, so I started I had better language skills to take the stories forward. But I thought if Dolly had to tell her story, then she shouldn't be talking like this. This should not be the style of narration. And I kept trying it for maybe 1 or 2 years, and it wasn't working. I wasn't satisfied. So that, you could say that it was a writer's block. And how I actually overcame it is, I read a book by Rupi Kaur. She's a poet who writes in free verse style, and she's quite famous actually. And I thought that this is something which a girl or a character like Dolly can attempt. poetry, but it doesn't have any meter scheme, it doesn't rhyme. Just words thrown together randomly, but it doesn't mean that the words are just useless or they are not powerful enough. Still, the message can be very powerful, even if you don't have great language skills, even if you don't have excellent grammar, even if you don't have great vocabulary. As long as you have ideas which are powerful and you have a story to tell, then nothing should be able to stop you, right? So that's what I wanted. And also, the children who may have learning difficulties, it doesn't mean they are not intelligent or smart enough. They just express themselves differently. So when I read that book, I thought, wow, I found my solution. Now I'm just going to write a book in free verse style. And that's how Dolly took shape. Dolly, it's called Dolly Won't Play. So it's basically just poetry in free verse. And it didn't really take me, like I said, just thinking about took me maybe 1 or 2 years. I used to start, stop, and then get on with other things, again start, stop. But with this, when I actually started writing in free verse style, which I had never done before, to be very honest, I completed it. Didn't take me long, maybe 2 months max. I was able to write the book. Yeah.
So, ma'am,
So,
can
ma'am,
you
can you
read out
read
your
out your
favorite
favorite
lines
lines
from your
from
book?
your book? Okay, my book is right here. Actually, I didn't want to really read any lines as such, because the stories are so interconnected. It would be something very random and they would be out of context. So there is a poem which I have written in Dying to Live. It comes in the end. It's not part of the story, but it's basically, you might have heard You'll Be a Man by Sun by Rudyard Kipling. So this is the a female version of that poem, and it's called And You, My Daughter, Will Be a Woman. So, okay, I'll just carry on. If you can love a man completely without any shame, but still not lose yourself in the bargain, if you have gone through heartbreaks, sleepless nights, and depression, but still have not lost your passion, if an old romantic song brings tears in your eyes and still be able to see through his countless lies, if you treat everyone with the same respect without giving a damn to how much they get, if you can feel the same confidence in trousers or a mini skirt and not justify your choices to the world, if you can take a stand for others without worrying about their gender, and while standing up for others, learn to stand up for yourself, if you don't apologize for being an ambitious bitch and still embrace your duties as a homemaker while making that switch, while climbing the ladder of success, help the other girls who need a push, if you stay strong and fight your way through, and don't mind a dash of vulnerability too, if you can live it up, love, laugh, support, hug, and have an opinion, yours is the earth and everything in it, and you, my daughter, will be a woman. This is it. This is the book.
This was
This was
truly,
Teen
truly
Trilogy. Truly
incredible.
incredible.
It was
Thank you. It
really
was really
amazing, ma'am.
amazing, ma'am. Thank you.
So,
So,
ma'am, now
ma'am,
can
now
you
can
tell us
you tell
about
us
your
about your
future
future
plans?
plans?
What more
What
will
more
we
will
have?
we have? Um, Actually, like I said, my 4 books are done. I had taken a sabbatical of almost 5 years to do this writing, like I said earlier, personal development. So I also started doing DBA, which is Doctorate in Business Administration, like you mentioned earlier. So right now I'm trying to write thesis, which is very difficult for me because it's going to be completely academic and I can't really fool around. I have to write facts, and make sure that it is well researched. Sorry. And so it's pretty difficult for me. I think in a few months, if everything goes well, that would be my fifth book. Obviously, it's not going to be published, it won't be in the public domain. So then I also, like I said, I had taken sabbatical, so I'm right now back to working. I'm engaged as a strategy consultant advisor with the company organization, and so I'll see how it goes, and I may be starting sometime later after a few months or a year or so, because I have other things also to take care of which I had neglected all this while. But I really do want to write books for children. But I also got inspired in the last few months when I started reading more about India, its culture, its heritage, its history. And I thought this is something which children must know about. Unfortunately, even when we were growing up, we were not taught a lot in this at home, and even in school, we were not really taught the right things. It was so I want, if possible, if I can make a small contribution in fixing that, that our history has been called our mythology all this while for so many years. That would be something which I really want to do, and I hope I would be able to do that and accomplish that. And it's basically just, to teach, not to teach, I never want to teach anything, but at least to present at least the right values to the future generation of the country. Yeah.
Ma'am, we
Ma'am,
would
we
really
would
look
really
forward
look
to
forward
reading
to
more
reading
from
more
you.
from you.
Thank
And
you.
as
And
we know
as
that
we know
right
that
now
right
this is
now this
tough
is tough
times during
times during
COVID.
COVID.
So
So
any
any
message for
message
our
for our
viewers?
viewers?
I have always thought, yeah, that I'm not experienced or qualified enough to actually give message or advices to anyone. Even when I had written for teenagers, I also wanted to make sure that I was not being preachy, and it was through the stories that those messages are coming. So I can't say, because it's not that I'm perfect, and I have also gone through my share of lots of anxiety during the COVID time, and it has been terrible last 1.5 years for everyone. But one thing I learned, and thankfully maybe that's why the whole thing happened. I started reading Gita, and that gave me a different perspective altogether as to how you can actually stay detached to what's happening around you. And so this is my one message. If anyone wants to take in and have an open mind, must read Gita, and you will find solutions to every problem in your life there. And even if you don't find, it will give you a sense of detachment, another perspective to look at things, and try to have a stable mind, as they say sthir buddhi. No matter what's happening, you should always have an objective approach towards things. Even if you're sad, happy, it's all right to be passionate about things. It's all right to sometimes feel angry or whatever, but you must know, you must be able to see yourself from another level, that it's your body or your mind is going through this, it's not you. So once you're able to achieve that kind of thing, or able to understand or know this, then life becomes much more easier, and you find a different purpose altogether. So that would be my message to everyone who's watching, that if you have not yet tried, this is something, this should be actually the first book to read, is the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you.
Ma'am, at
Ma'am, at
last we
last
have
we
a
have a
rapid fire
rapid
round
fire
for
round
you.
for you.
Okay.
So
So
the I'll
the
start
I'll
with
start
it.
with it.
Do you want me to elaborate the rapid fire if we have time, or how are we doing, like when it regards to time? We are okay,
Like
right?
I'll
Like
ask
I'll
you
ask you
why.
why.
At that
At
time
that time
Okay.
you
you
Okay.
must
elaborate.
elaborate.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
first
So
one,
first one,
spirituality and
spirituality and
healing
healing,
or
or
science and
science and
fiction.
fiction.
Which one
Which
and
one
why?
and why?
Okay. I would not say spirituality and healing, even though I myself am into it. I would prefer science fiction, because when it comes to spirituality and healing, you have to be very careful about the source. You cannot just start reading or listening to anyone who's available, right? So, but when it comes to science fiction, it's all right to take a chance and read it and have fun with it, and learn some things from it. So it's all right. But when it comes to talking about healing and spirituality, and people have different ideas, and different value system, completely different opinions from each other. I think it's all right to keep an open mind, but you have to also realize what would work for you the most, right? So I would suggest definitely that it's all right to read about spirituality and all, if you are mature enough, you are understand, you know what you're doing, you are able to keep an objective mind towards it, and you don't get too much swayed and into this, and give up everything for the sake of spirituality, or things like that. So both ways it's fine, but I would prefer science fiction, at least for young minds. But young minds definitely, when it's the right kind of spirituality, like I said, when you're talking about Gita and the right values which you can learn from the Indian culture, Indian heritage, then go for it when you're sure. Yeah.
Your city
Your
of
city of
dreams.
dreams.
Okay, right now I live in Abu Dhabi. It's very beautiful. It's in UAE, and I think it would be. It's a very good place to be. But obviously, my city of dreams would be Chandigarh in India because I come from that area. My parents are from Ambala, and my relatives they live in Chandigarh and all that. And I have spent a long time of my life there, so I just love it. I think that would be a place I would like to settle down in, and that would be my city of dreams. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Your
Your
favorite
favorite
color and
color
why?
and why?
Okay. I like basically all the colors, but these days I like olive green a lot, like military green. I just love
Yeah.
that color. And earth tones I love. But I also like orange a lot because it represents, like I said, our culture. So and our religion, Hinduism. So I'm very attracted to orange color also these days. But I like all the colors. Or I would say, like, if I had to choose, definitely shades of green, earth colors, earth tones.
Okay.
Okay.
Your
Your
favorite book
favorite
and
book
author.
and author.
Actually, I love Chetan Bhagat because I think he's master of entertainment, and all his books have been made into movies, and I think that's the purpose of his writing. He just wants to entertain people, and they are very fast moving, and once you start, you can't stop. So I like Chetan Bhagat books, and when I was growing up, I read serious stuff like Ayn Rand, Fountainhead, and I got very inspired by it. And I thought that that's a story about an architect, and that was a time when I actually wanted to be an architect myself because I was so moved by it. But I learned a lot from that book, and when you grow up, then you realize that maybe everything that you have learned is not really, it's not right. And everything depends on the context. But I really like her books as well, and Wimpy Kids, definitely. Nowadays, I'm reading some other books about nationalism. So, Neeraj Attri I like, and Rajiv Malhotra's books, and Sanjay Dikshit. I think these are the authors you must watch out for, and if you are interested to know about the country, then you should read their books, at least now. They might not be extremely
And
famous, but they are very good.
Yeah.
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 And your
And
favorite
your
cuisine.
favorite cuisine.
Cuisine, obviously, like, we are desis. So we might want to have like pizza or burger sometimes, or once in a while, but we have to have our dal and rice and roti and chawal and everything. So definitely Indian food is my favorite. There was a time I used to have like egg and bread for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That I went through that phase also, but then after that I just became a pure vegetarian. So I think Indian food is the best. It's got everything you need, maybe more. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
last one.
last one.
If you were to
If you
write
were
an
to write an
autobiography,
autobiography,
what would be
what
the
would be
title
the
of your
title
book?
of your book?
Okay. I think couple of things I keep saying, like I always say, like, it's no big deal. So maybe that would be the title of my book, that don't take everything so seriously, and you can get over anything, and you can handle everything, and even if you are not able to handle it and you fail, so what? So I would say that no big deal would be the title of my autobiography, and for now. But like I said, even if you're in your, like I said, I'm in my mid 40s, but still I feel that I'm growing up. I'm still learning so much. So I don't know, maybe my opinions or what I like. I'm not saying values, because values should not change, but you can start thinking differently on certain lines. So maybe I'll get passionate about some other things, and maybe the title would change. But right now, like, I would suggest this to everyone, that don't get paranoid about stuff, and be detached, and don't take things seriously, and try to enjoy life as much as possible. Yeah.
It was,
It
ma'am,
was, ma'am,
really an
really an
amazing
amazing
session. It was
session.
an
It was
honor
an
to
honor
have
to
you.
have you.
And your
And your
journey, your
journey,
book,
your
both
book,
have
both
been
have been
remarkable.
remarkable.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank
So
you so
thank you
much,
so
ma'am,
much,
for
ma'am,
being
for
here
being
with
here
us.
with us.
And we wish
And
you
we
luck
wish
for
you
your
luck for
future
your future
endeavors.
endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Radha, and good job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
for having me. Thank you.